Hello, it's Brendan from Tech Buzz Ireland. Today we have IP camera from annke. We've done a variety of their products over the last number of years. This particular one on the box it'll actually call out is the AP171, but actually it's the C300 model, which is a 2K 3 megapixel outdoor camera, IP camera, with night vision, motion detection, and obviously the IP67 rating is quite good in that terms. And that kind of gives you just a very quick overview. Looking at the camera itself, it's fairly basic in the terms of it's just a basic idea. Bullet network camera, 2.8mm lens there. 265 plus compression technology, day and night vision obviously there at the moment, supports PoE, which basically means is on the unit itself I can plug this straight into a PoE switch, or I can use the normal 12 volts. Just to clarify, with most of these cameras there you get no power supply, so you can get a normal 12 volt power supply, plug it directly in, or you can plug the PoEs directly into here on that. In terms of usage there, the one thing I will call out is on the manual itself, it's got all the details. It gives a picture of the SD card which is fitting there, and it gives you everything. This one does not come with an SD card, so just to clarify, there's no confusion there. So in terms of storage, you have to go through different options. There is subscription option available, or you can plug it directly into your NVR to actually set it up, and that's just a matter of configuring it. Now, I could do a load of different NVRs, wireless, etc., but for the moment we just stick with this particular camera. In terms of the view, it's just a small enough. You can see by the size of my hand, it's relatively small. In terms of mounting it there, you've got the screws there. You just plug it in, and twisting this will allow the angles to be moving, so you can put it up and down. So in terms of flexibility, where you're putting it up, down, left, right, there's no issues whatsoever on that. So you can plug it in. Outdoor, obviously, with the IP rating that you can actually use, and you can plug it in. It does give the connectors for this, plugging it in, so you can actually, when you're plugging it into example outdoor, you can actually seal it. Obviously this part, if it's outdoor, has to be sealed with waterproof sealing. It does actually come with a 24-hour surveillance unit there. Through the manual, in terms of viewing, one of the important things is to view, whether it's via your phone, whether it's via software on your app. There is the SADP app software which you can actually use. We've done that before, but today we've used the Anchor Vision. What I'll do is I'll set it up in a few moments, configure it, and give you an idea of what it looks like in daylight, I suppose, and darkness, etc. On the unit itself, you can see it's relatively small. You basically point this in a direction and that's it. There's no adjusting the lens to point of view. There's no areas there at the moment. There's no major adjustments either via the software or via anything else. So you just point it, leave it there, and that actually works. Cost and all that, it's relatively a low end cost of a product there at the moment, but it has, you'll see the picture quality in a few moments, and that'll give you an idea what it's actually doing. On the unit itself, same thing as most of the units themselves, built with a rugged plastic. It has a cold rating there, up to minus 22 degrees or minus 30 degrees Celsius. Well, it'll be fairly cold for that actually to happen, and up to 60 degrees in the heat there. But the big thing is the IP67 will allow it for outdoor, and you can actually see it there, and you can connect it in. So the big thing is, from a technical point of view, is plugging it into the correct power supply, configuring it with a variety of different variations, and I'll give you a demo of them as well. I've now downloaded the Anchor Vision software, set it up in terms of two-factor authentication in a lot of questions, a lot of security questions required for the camera to be set up. I've plugged it into a PoE switch and connected it directly into the local network there. This is the app itself. First thing, probably observation is there's lots of information. This is probably one of the first screens you get to when you're doing it, and we'll go in for videos, etc. there and that. Typically you go into the maintenance type thing and you can get to see certain information. You can see one's connected there. Within the device there, this is the main picture I'm actually seeing. So I have the camera at the other end and I can actually looking at it, see moving around. What you'll notice, if I jump up around, That's set to motion detection at the moment, so you can actually see it's actually picked up. I've been moving, so I'm going to keep reasonably moving quiet on that from that point of view of setting it up. Has lots of different options, and you go through the things. So there's a load of different configurations: monitoring, reports, data retrieval. And I suppose just going back to the main menu, the camera. Within the menus themselves, there's a lot of different functionalities, and I suppose the most common thing would be the storage schedule. So you can actually change the storage here. We just click on this particular camera. You can so if you've got a storage server, you can connect it directly to the server itself, and you can have an external storage. Bear in mind, there's no SD card in the unit itself. One other probably thing to be aware of, if you go for the basic subscription package, it's coming up about $2.49 a month for 7 days. For 7 days. And the premium plan, which is £7, is for 30 days. So bear that in mind for the camera. So if you're connecting it into obviously to your own NVR, there's no charges, etc. Because it doesn't have the SD card in it, you need to have storage somewhere there at the moment, and that's a decision. The advantage of having the cloud storage is if somebody came in, store your storage systems, you'd lose all your data there as well. This particular software, once it's configured, has lots of information. It's probably an overkill for this particular camera in terms of the amount you can actually do with it. There's loads of different variations you can actually do. Sometimes I find it slightly slower to connect to information, so when you're going through it, it can be a bit slower, not as responsive as some other softwares I can see. In terms of doing an awful lot with the camera itself, this particular camera is not actually there's no zoom on it, and it is a 2K 3 megapixels outdoor PoE camera. You can't go in and do them. So the software you're looking at the moment, you might see that some people are using the SADP software, which we've used before. This particular, so this is the annke Vision. So it's just the camera itself, it's a different software it's been using. So same camera, it depends on the software you're using. You can go into some of the menus there at the moment. Whereas if it was a PTZ, for example, within the software you'd have loaded. So it's just an MPEG format, not assigned, storage and device and where it's been stored. Little things about the image itself and where the file has been stored. So you can obviously change the details where I want to store it. And because I'm using this particular software, I could have like 5-10 different cameras on it. But for the moment, this is just your basic camera, just basically connected there on that. In terms of other areas you're going into, software is all the different functionalities, all the main kind of you'd expect this connection. Setting it up, I suppose configuring it is just a matter of device management. When your device has been connected, you would just plug it in as normal and you would just go add a new device. So you just do an add, you do a search in the IP address and you pick it in there. In essence, what's it really doing from any point of view is when you're using it here, it's just a camera. And I don't want to use the word it's a boring camera in the sense of that's it. It is stationary, you have it fixed for a particular lens there. The software in the background controls it, but it's the same software will control 10 other different cameras. And this is a very basic camera. It would be lower end in terms of price wise targeted, but whether you're using the most expensive one here with a PTZ, with a wireless type things, it's the same principles with the camera. And as I showed you, it'll hopefully come on in a few seconds and usually comes on. So there's a second delay, and that's just motion, so you can get that tracked to pick it up. And that will give me some ideas of what's the event. Now obviously I can configure them, switch them off, disable them, do whatever I want to do on that. I've now set this up in the terms of nighttime darkness, so all the lights are off here at the moment. It's actually looking a bit brighter than I would have expected looking through this, but the room is relatively dark. I've put some flowers deliberately there so you can actually just see the flowers, that you can actually see the colour, and you can see my face as well. There's the same thing there, and you can see me moving around. Now I'm moving, watching this there. I want to stand up for a second and we'll see that we get any. The motion detection still actually works. So even though it's a lot darker there at the moment, now if you were just looking at this particular picture, you wouldn't think this room is actually dark. I'm struggling to, I suppose, see the different areas to know what's going, because I'm using this as my brightness. Now the monitor is giving a little bit more light in terms of the camera, but it just shows it is actually working. Looking at the camera as well, I don't see any IRs kicking in, so the infrared details is in the background, but it's not actually visible to me. Just giving you the overview of that there. So the room is fairly dark, same idea, and obviously with the IP rating there, using it outdoor, IP66 waterproof and 67 waterproof, it's actually will do the job there as well. Overall, giving you a demo of thing, so don't worry too much on the software that we're looking at the menu picture. I can't zoom in because the software is not in the unit itself, but it's just your basic stationary pick. Concern is what you're going to be doing in terms of, are you going to be storing the information, where you're going to store the data, because there's no SD card in this particular model, what you're going to do with it, and once you get that connected up to your NVR, to your online storage, or you store it somewhere else on site. In terms of the quality of the picture in this environment, you can probably see, you can see the glasses I'm wearing, you can see my hands, you can see my watch, so you can pick up there. So if this was example watching a particular area, a relatively small area, the quality is very good, and even though the room I'm in at the moment is quite dark. Thank you for watching Tech Buzz Ireland. That was the annke C300 2K 3 megapixel PoE IP camera. The model code is slightly different, which is the AP171 on the particular box itself. Thank you for watching Tech Buzz Ireland.